Hi everyone, welcome to Top Score Writing's mini training on the first steps to writing. We're super excited you've joined us today as we share a few strategies and tips to help your students accurately analyze prompts and construct a planning outline that will allow them to write a structured and well-organized essay. So let's get started. Now, when students are writing a text-based essay, whether it is for an informative prompt or an opinion prompt, the first crucial step is for them to accurately analyze the prompt and determine what they are being asked to write about. Now, we choose that word analyzing versus the word reading on purpose. It is not enough for students to simply read the prompt. Rather, they must analyze the prompt. We've come up with a simple 3-step plan for students to do this. Because if students do not correctly identify exactly what it is that they are being asked to write about, then unfortunately, they start down the wrong path from the very beginning. Their essay must be focused on the controlling idea that is stated in the prompt in order for their essay to be considered on topic. So step number 1. This is a very common step. Most teachers have their students do this already. Students need to identify keywords in the prompt to set their purpose for writing. Anytime students see the keywords of explain, inform, or teach, they will know they are being asked to write an informative essay. When students see the words opinion, think, or feel, they will know they are being asked to write an opinion essay. Once they've identified the keywords, then they can set their purpose. Are they writing to inform on a topic? Or are they writing to state their opinion and support or back up their opinion with reasons from the text? Now, oftentimes, teachers and students stop here, but we are going to encourage you to have your students dig a little deeper into these prompts. Step number 2, students should, in their own words, restate what the prompt is asking them to write about. Step number 3, students should ask themselves, is this prompt directing me to write about a general topic or something specific? Now, step 3 is hugely important, and I'm going to show you why in just a second. Let's look at some example prompts together. In step 1, you have 2 different prompts. Both are about magnetism. The first is a general prompt. It says, write an informative essay to present to your class about magnetism. Students, when responding to this prompt, can write about anything they want about magnetism as long as it comes from the passage. They can talk about when magnetism was discovered, who the inventors were. They can talk about how it is used. They can talk about the evolution of magnetism and our understanding of it. They can talk about anything they want about magnetism as long as it comes from the text set. Now let's look at the second prompt in set number 1. This is a very specific prompt. This says, write an informative essay about the use of magnets and how magnetism occurs. So this narrows down the focus of the student's essay considerably. They can only talk about how magnets are used and how magnetism works. They cannot talk about the evolution of magnetism. They can't discuss who invented magnetism. Any of that type of information would be considered off topic for this second prompt. Let's look at set number 2. Both of these prompts are about the advantages and the disadvantages of selling candy as a fundraiser at school. The first prompt in set number 2 says you have read several sources on the advantages and disadvantages of selling candy for fundraising in school. Write an opinion essay about whether or not you agree about selling candy as a fundraiser. Very general. Do the students agree or do they not? The second prompt is different. It's more specific. It says write an opinion essay about whether you believe selling candy for fundraising is beneficial or harmful. That is a completely different writing task. They can't write for the second prompt about whether they agree or disagree with candy as a fundraiser. They have to state their opinion about whether candy fundraisers are beneficial to students or harmful to students. So you can see right here from these two examples, if students did not accurately analyze the prompt, then they would not be able to respond appropriately in their essay. One of the strategies that we recommend here at TopScore is to model this process for your students, just as I've done for you today, with two prompts on the same topic, one that is general and one that is specific. That way students can explicitly see the difference between the prompts and the writing task. Now, after they have analyzed the prompt, they can go ahead and read the passage set carefully and critically. After that, it is time to plan. All students need to plan when they are writing. Your plan becomes your roadmap for your essay. We teach planning with an outline here at TopScore. For informative writing, we call it an ITC outline. I stands for introduction, T stands for topics, C stands for conclusion. Each part of this plan will become its own paragraph. I becomes the introduction paragraph, T1 is the first body paragraph, T2 is the second body paragraph, T3 is the third body paragraph, and C is the conclusion paragraph. We take it one step further. For each big idea, each big topic in the body paragraphs, students will need to generate two subtopics. Now that sounds super fancy and confusing. So instead of saying to the students, you need two subtopics, we ask them to give two details or examples from the text about the big idea of that paragraph. And when you ask them to give details or examples, students understand what you are asking of them much more clearly. Let's look at an example plan together. So the plan we're going to be looking at comes from one of our passage sets that is all about alligators. Now for all of our passage sets, we always give two prompts. One is a general prompt and one is a specific prompt. The specific prompt is titled advanced prompt. Teachers can choose which prompt is appropriate for their students at that time. For this example, we are going to be responding to the general prompt, which states, write an informative essay to present to your class about alligators. Here is a completed plan. You will notice the words next to I and C come directly from the prompt. The prompt is where the students will determine what the controlling idea of their essay is, and the controlling idea is what they need to discuss in the I and C paragraphs. The three main topics next to T1, T2, and T3, as well as the A's and B's, come directly from the text. This ensures that students are writing about what they have read and not their background knowledge or their own personal prior experience. You will also notice that when we write our plan, we just write one or two words for each part. We don't write in complete sentences. We tell our students that a plan is like your shopping list. When you're getting ready to go to Publix and you're making your list, you don't write down, I need oranges, I need toothpaste, I need bread. You just write oranges, toothpaste, bread, short and to the point. The same with our plan. We do not spend time writing in complete sentences on our plan. Pacing is a huge part of our curriculum. We strongly encourage all students to be able to complete their plan in 10 to 15 minutes. If they're able to do that, they will be able to construct a thorough plan without taking up too much of their writing time. Now, we teach our students while they are planning to utilize a strategy called boxing and labeling information. Now, this strategy is awesome for two reasons. Number one, it ensures that everything students write on their plan comes from the passages. This will make sure that everything that they write in their essay is text-based. Second reason this strategy is so helpful is because when the students are writing their essay 45 minutes, an hour after they've planned, and they need to find evidence to include in their body paragraphs, As long as they have boxed and labeled, they will be able to go back to a small section of the passage set, reread that small section, and pull out the best and most relevant piece of evidence to include in their essay. So let's learn what it means to box and label. As students are planning, they should be flipping through their passage set to generate ideas of things to write about. So for example, if this student was instructed to inform his reader about alligators, and he starts looking through his passage set, he may notice that there is an entire page from the text set about different species of alligators. There's a lot of information on something, then that might be a good topic to write about. So this student may choose species for his T1 paragraph. He'll write species on his planning sheet next to T1, and in the passage set, he will put a big box around that whole section of information and label it T1 species. The next thing the student will ask themselves is, what are 2 details about species I can write about? Or what are 2 examples of species I can write about? Well, we see right here that paragraph 1 is about one type of alligator, the American alligator. Paragraph number 2 is all about the Chinese alligator. So those are examples of species of alligators. So the student may choose American to be their A subtopic. Therefore, they will write American next to A on their planning sheet, and they will underline American in the passage set and label it A. They will choose Chinese alligators for their B subtopic. So they'll write Chinese next to B on their planning sheet, and they will underline the word Chinese alligator in paragraph 2 and label it B. Then they will go on and plan their T2 topic. Perhaps they notice through their use of headings that there's a whole section that explains how alligators are a type of reptile. So they may choose type of reptile for their second body paragraph topic. They'll write type of reptile next to T2 on their planning sheet, and then they'll ask themselves, okay, I need details about this type of reptile or examples about the type of reptile. By rereading this section, they may notice, you know what? Paragraph 3 explains all reptiles are cold-blooded. It's a great detail. And paragraph 4 explains that reptiles lay eggs. That's another important detail. So they may choose cold-blooded for their A subtopic and eggs for their B subtopic. Students will write those words on their planning sheet, and then they will box and label the information in the passage set that pertains to T2. They'll do the same thing for T3. So yes, this strategy adds a smidge of extra time to the student's planning process. But once students get familiar with how to box and label, it will add no more than 1 minute to the time it takes for them to plan. Students should be flipping through the passages when they plan anyway, in order to ensure that their topics come from the text set. So the only additional step is when they choose a topic to go ahead and label where that information came from in the passage set, put a box around their subtopics and label those. It doesn't take much extra time. And here's why it's so important. Let's pretend you're a student. You're writing in a 2-hour timed writing situation. So let's say we are an hour and 15 minutes into our 2-hour block. It's time to write our T2 paragraph. I'm writing about types of reptiles. I want to write about how reptiles are cold-blooded, and I need a good piece of evidence. Well, remember, you're an hour and 15 minutes in. Time's a ticking and you're getting tired. So when it's time for evidence, students are going to do one of 2 things. Either they're going to start from the beginning of the passage set and they're going to start rereading the whole thing until they find a piece of evidence they can use about alligators being cold-blooded, which they can't do. There's no time for that. If students are constantly rereading the whole text set, they'll never finish their essay. Or the other option for them is to skim and scan. So they just start going through the essay and they find the word cold-blooded, boom, that's the sentence they're going to quote in their essay or paraphrase in their essay about further evidence about being cold-blooded. Well, what's the problem with this? Well, the first time you see the words cold-blooded from skimming and skimming, that might not be the most effective or relevant piece of evidence. It may only be loosely related. So we do not want students to choose evidence in either of those ways. Rather, if they have boxed and labeled, and it's time to write their T2 paragraph, and they're writing their A subtopic, they know exactly where to go for evidence. They just need to go to paragraph 3 on this page. They just need to reread this one paragraph, and from this one paragraph, they can choose the best piece of evidence. It really narrows their focus for choosing evidence. And by narrowing their focus, we are going to give them some more time to evaluate their options and choose the best piece of evidence for that particular paragraph. So that's why boxing and labeling is so beneficial for students. It will really increase the quality of their essays. Now, we show students explicitly how to develop an essay from their plan. And one of the strategies we like to use at Top Score Writing is color coding. It's just such a great visual for all students. So students can see here the clear correlation between the planning sheet and the essay. If you look on the planning sheet, I says alligators, it's highlighted in green. Well, on this example essay from our curriculum, you can see the introduction paragraph written in green. The T1 paragraph should all be about species of alligators, according to our planning sheet. And you can see in the example essay how we have developed that entire T1 paragraph. All of that red information in the example essay is about different species of alligators. Now, in later lessons, you can dive deeper into subtopics and show students how that paragraph has sentences about American alligators and sentences about Chinese alligators. But right now, we're just trying to help our students understand the connection between the planning sheet and a completed essay. On our planning sheet, all of the T2 information is in blue. In the example essay, we have written an entire second body paragraph about types of reptiles. The T3 topic on the planning sheet is highlighted in orange, and in the example essay, you can see how we've written the T3 paragraph. The conclusion is highlighted in pink on the planning sheet, and you can see how we have developed that into a conclusion paragraph in the example essay. So by color coding a complete essay along with the planning sheet, students can see the direct connection and how they are going to develop their plan into a 5-paragraph essay that is now structured and organized due to having such a good planning outline. For students that need a little bit more structure, we have one more tip for you: boxed paper. Do you have those students in your class who just write one big paragraph? Maybe there's different organized topics within that paragraph, but it's all just smushed together. Well, box paper is a tool that you're going to love. What it does is it takes each part of the planning outline and it puts it into its separate box. Now, when students are writing their introduction, for example, they can only write in the I box. When students are writing their T1 paragraph, if you remember, that was on species of alligators, they can only write in that T1 paragraph, or excuse me, in that T1 box. When students are writing about their T2 topic, which is reptiles, they can only write in the T2 box. This really helps students to organize their ideas. We can teach them very easily with box paper how to indent each paragraph. After a few writing experiences using box paper, students will glean an understanding and really internalize the idea that an essay is made up of 5 separate, distinct paragraphs. Each paragraph is indented and focused on only one topic. Once students are able to write appropriately on box paper, then we can transition them into lined paper. And you will see how they are easily able to make that jump to lined paper while still writing 5 clearly indented, well-structured, and well-organized paragraphs. We hope you enjoyed our little mini training today on the first steps to writing. We briefly covered analyzing prompts and planning and how to help students create structure and organization in their essays. If you would like to learn more, we offer 4 other mini trainings. One is how to write structured and organized middle paragraphs. So really dive deeper into those T1, T2, and T3 paragraphs. We also offer a mini training on elaborative techniques. If you're looking for some tips on how to get your students to choose relevant evidence to quote or paraphrase, if you need information on how to help your students accurately reference their sources, if you're looking for some new ideas on elaboration, how to get your students to think about what they've read and to respond critically to the evidence in their essays, we have a mini training for you. So please feel free to reach out if you would like any more of our free mini trainings. If you would like other free lesson ideas, student activities, or giveaways, feel free to join our VIP teacher Facebook group. We are constantly supporting our teachers by creating new materials, new activities, new lessons, new strategies, and we share them all for free in our teacher VIP Facebook group. If you need any other more specific information, we're here to help you. Please feel free to email customer service at topscorewriting.com if you're interested in learning more about our curriculum. If you have any questions on any of the strategies or lessons that were presented here today, please email Jen at topscorewriting.com or call our office. We're here to help and support you in any way that we can. Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful rest of your day.